I think you may have heard a lot of people say how extremely polite Japanese people are, and it is quite true. But chances are you've only heard how extremely polite that phrase, how extremely polite Japanese people are from people who have only been visiting here for a short period of time. So tourists, most likely, or people that are sitting at their desk back home watching anime and watching some stuff about Japan and think, oh my goodness, the Japanese culture, the Japanese tradition, the Japanese people and their mannerism is all about humanity and humility, gentle and being disciplined and dedicated, all those nice stuff that you might have seen from The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise if you watched it. To some extent, yes, it is quite true. They are quite polite. I remember when I first arrived in Japan, we were trying to get from the hotel where we were staying in Shinjuku, and we were trying to go to the South African embassy, or no, not the embassy, the residence, South African residency, where the ambassador lived, because they had invited us for a party, and we got lost. And somewhere in the mix, we just stopped in the middle of the street and we asked someone if they could give us direction and which train we should take. And that person, I think it was quite a youngish guy. Maybe the guy was in his early 20s or so. Yeah, that guy basically stopped going where he was going, turned around and took us to the right train, the right platform, and said, if you get on here and get off that platform, with relatively decent English, not great English. And he told us how to get there, which was very nice. And I remember being very shocked, and I thought, wow, these people are so polite. How can a whole population be this polite? Because at some point, I was also sitting in South Africa watching a little bit of anime and watching videos about Japanese culture as I was getting ready to move to Japan. And I just couldn't believe how thoughtful they are and how polite they are and just how kind Japanese people can be. Until I got here. Wow, so much has changed. And my perception of how polite Japanese people are has changed so much. I'm not trying to talk bad about Japanese people, not one bit. Please don't get me wrong. Japanese people have been, at least to me, in my experience, very kind for, like, in many regards, many aspects. But some things are still a little bit weird for me. Some things I really do not get how they do certain things. You might remember in one of the videos I said that I've been living in my building for almost 4 years and I still don't know my neighbors. I've tried to befriend the guy next door, but it's just not happening. And I barely see other people. Fine, yes, they keep to themselves, but to this extent. And also, man, like I said, I worry sometimes. Like, what if something happened to someone next door and they live alone? Who's going to help them? What if something happens to me in my house and there's nobody around? Who's going to help me if I can't reach my phone and call a friend, or if I can't tell somebody and say, hey, something is wrong? Who's going to help me? Just as an example. It can be a little bit concerning, right? You do agree. Culture shock, I think that's one ways that I can explain why I'm actually trying to talk, or why I'm trying to make this video. There's so many things in Japan that are so shocking, and they'll just leave you bewildered, or they'll leave you flabbergasted. I heard one story once. A friend said that she was heavily pregnant and her parents came to visit, right? And as they were just out and about in town, they were in a shopping mall, they get on the escalator. She's thick, heavy pregnant by that time, she said. And then her father sort of tripped on the escalator and fell down just as they got to the end. It's not like they fell all the way from the top all the way down, but just as they were getting down at the bottom of the escalator, father tripped and fell. And Japanese people just pretended nothing is happening. Nobody came to help. Nobody said, oh my goodness, old man, are you okay? Nothing. They just went on by the way as if nothing is happening. I couldn't believe when I heard that story, and I thought, what? No way Japanese people could be like that. They can be so confusing sometimes, or things in Japan can be so confusing sometimes. Now, the reason I am making this video is I wanted to talk about my colleagues and the people around me, the people that I think I know, and how they behave in the office and how they behave outside of the office. And hopefully you can share some of your stories too if you live here in Japan, or if you live anywhere else outside of your home country, what your experiences are with your colleagues, with your friends, with the people in your neighbors, in your building or in your neighborhood, etc. Because I've been in Japan for 9 years, and every single time I feel like my jaw is just left dropped. Some of the things that happen are just so unbelievable sometimes. They really just get to me. Now, before I tell you about the story, let me just give you a little bit of a backdrop or background to this. You'll see on Instagram or any other social media, on X, whenever people are visiting Japan, I've had the same experience as well. When people came to visit me from South Africa, they all rave about how polite Japanese people are, how nice they are, how quiet they are sometimes in the trains or just outside, and how well behaved they are. One of my friends that came to visit commented on how everybody is sticking to the left side on the stairs, going up or going down, whichever. But there are usually signs. There's an arrow, stick to the left or stick to the right. It happened to me too when I went to the stadium the other day and it was very crowded. They were directing people, if you're going this way, stick to this side of the road. And if you're going that way, stick to the opposite side. And people follow that to the T. So a friend of mine who came to visit also commented on how like strict or rigid or how much they follow the rule, how orderly they are. I once sent a video to my brother's Busiso, and I wanted to show him just a little bit of Shibuya, what it looked like in the crowds. And the first thing he said to me was, wow, these people are so orderly. Like all of them are walking on one side of the road, going one direction. Yeah, and that's the impression that people usually get. They just get the impression that, oh my goodness, Japanese people are so polite and they follow the laws or the rules, regulations. It is not a lie. Not like there is lots of truth in that as well. And I think when you are visiting, because you are here for such a short time, you only get to see a little bit of it, because it can get really worse. When you walk into a store, people scream "Irashaimase," meaning welcome to the store or come into the store, something like that, which is really nice. I mean, that's one of my favorite things. Whenever I go to a store and I hear "Irashaimase," man, my ego gets boosted so high. I'm like, yeah, these people are so happy to have me eat their ramen or eat their sushi. Not that I eat any sushi, but whatever. These people are going, oh my God, we are so happy that you are here, customer. And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy that I'm here too, When they say "Irashaimase," I want to say "Irashaimase." Yeah. But yeah, when people are here for a short time, that's the impression that they get. And Japan is not unique. Many other places. When I visit the United States, I always think, oh my God, it's so nice, I could live here. But people that live there, they tell me, ooh, not so much. And possibly the same with if you live in Germany, if you live in Australia, it's different compared to the people that are just visiting. Your experiences there are very different compared to the people that are visiting you. And I have the same. And I have seen so much content from people like me who live here in Japan, and they make videos talking about how hard it is to live here compared to what it is like when you are visiting for a short period. When you're in for a short period, you get the nice goody stuff. But when you are living here, you get the really difficult red tape. You can't do this, you can't go there vibes. And that can be really, really hard. Okay, so that's basically the gist of the video. I'm going to be talking about what it's like when you're visiting and what it's like when you live here. And the basic examples that I'm going to take mostly are going to be based on my relationship with my colleagues at work. And I want to put a disclaimer here so that I don't get into trouble with my colleagues at work. I love all of you guys. I really enjoy working with every single one of you guys at NHK and everywhere else that I work. It's really nice. But there are some things that I sometimes find very funny. And I've told some of you, I've told some of you, and I think it's very odd or awkward. So now I'm telling people in South Africa, people that are watching some of these videos, or people not just in South Africa, everywhere, whoever gets access to this video. Right now, I've got 47 subscribers. Please, guys, let's get it to 50 and 100 very soon. Just subscribe, share with your friends, tell them to subscribe as well, so that you can get all these cool videos about a South African guy who lives in Japan. So I'm making this video for them, for mostly for South Africans and mostly for people that are always asking me what I get up to when I'm in Japan or what life actually is like here. So now I've picked out one page out of this book of living abroad, living in Japan, and this page is about is about my colleagues. Now, one thing for sure, every human being on planet Earth deserves a Japanese colleague. Man, Japanese colleagues can be so nice. And I think one of the reasons I am enjoying my work so much is because of my colleagues. Here's number one, the top thing that I enjoy about my colleagues is nobody likes to argue at all. My Japanese colleagues, they don't like to argue. I don't know if it's they don't like to argue with me or they don't like to argue with everybody else in the office. In fact, I want to say with everybody else in the office, because I've never even heard a single argument. When I worked at the SABC, almost every week, like when we were in the control room or in the studio, you would hear Easy yelling at Lebohang or yelling at Pompi or someone. Somebody would be yelling at someone saying, oh, do this, you're not doing this. You'd hear the studio manager shouting at the producer or the executive producer walking into the studio and yelling at us presenters. There's always conflict, right? Which is the newsroom and which is TV work. It just comes with the territory. But here in Japan, none of that. Or rather, where I work, there isn't much of that. Now, I gotta tell you one thing, and one of the reasons this is happening is because Japanese people apparently have got this thing called tatemai. Tatemai basically translates to the front face or the face that you produce. I hope I get this right, guys. If I get it wrong, you Japanese experts, please correct me there in the comments. But tatemai means the face that you put in front for everyone. Like when you get out of your house, you put on your tatemai, you put on your front face, that the people that you are not very close with, i.e. your colleagues or your friends outside of your house, people that are not your family, that is the face you give to them. So in a way, Japanese people are two-faced. No, that's what it means, because they have one face for the outside world and one face for when they are alone in their homes, right? I bet that's when the rage comes out. And I'm not trolling anybody here. I've had many Japanese people explain a bit of tatemai to me. So it's not like I'm trolling or calling them two-faced. No, I'm making it a figurative speech. You might notice that I'm being very careful with my speech and the way I speak, because things are changing a lot in Japan. People are getting tired of us foreigners speaking trash about Japan or doing un-Japan things here. So you'll get deported fast. And since I don't want to get deported, since I love being in Japan, and since I love my job so much, I want to stay here for as long as I can, I will speak my mind, but with caution, just like I do actually, as you know, with my life. I always speak my mind as it is, but with caution, in a diplomatic way, also in a respectable way. So now, tatemai, they have this face that they put out for the world outside their homes. And rest assured, when you are in the office, you are mostly seeing tatemai. You are mostly seeing the face that they put out there. And this face is usually just plain, just polite, just nice. If there is a little bit of a conflict between you guys, if you disagree or don't get to one common ground about a certain fact, point, topic, whatever, people never push on. They are never very aggressive. Yes, they could be passive aggressive in a way. Many Japanese people are passive aggressive. Many people on earth are passive aggressive. I can be passive aggressive as well. But Japanese people have mastered the art of that. So my colleagues, even if I get something wrong, even if I pronounced Antananarivo, as an example, the capital of Madagascar, if I pronounce it wrong and they know I've pronounced it wrong, they will not tell me straight up. They will say something like, I'm not so sure. I think Google or somebody, or I've heard it being pronounced like this. You might be right. I might be wrong. I'm not really sure. Let me just go make sure again, like make absolute certain, and I'll get back to you. That's it. That's how arguments basically go. And man, do I not love it? I love. Look, don't get me wrong. Ask anyone. I love arguing. I argue about anything. I argue about football. I argue about rice. I argue about where the sun rises and where it sets. Anything. I just love arguing because I like testing my own knowledge based on somebody else's. And it's just fun sometimes. Talking is fun. Look, God did not give me the gift of height, but he gave me the gift of speech because I do like to talk and I can talk. Trust me, if you get me in the right mood, then we will argue. But I don't like to argue to fight. Just yeah, let's get that clear. Once an argument is more about fighting, then yeah, then I bail, I get out, then I accept that I am wrong and you are right, and we move on. But if we argue for the sake of banter and for the sake of just having a good old, rigorous, vibrant chat, I'm all in for it. So in Japan or in my office, I never get there. Okay, that's maybe culture shock number one, but it's not so culture shocky. That one is actually something that I really enjoy. I like it. One of the reasons I am in Japan for so long is because never in conflict with anyone at work, which is amazing. And sometimes I try to do stuff in a more interesting or daring way on air. And yeah, and I will get told, okay, maybe just tone it down there a little bit, or maybe try to be more serious, or try to be more to the point about certain stuff. I do get told sometimes if I am stepping off the line or whatnot, which it rarely ever happens. I know. I mean, at this point, I'm senior enough to know our operating procedures at work, and I keep within them. Our editorial guidelines, follow them to the T. So yeah, arguments are very rare, very little in the office. What else? In the office, there is this other thing as well where people don't like to take responsibility, which really bothers me as well. Oh, something simple like deciding, hey, can I use a video of snow in Hokkaido instead of heat in Kyushu, southwestern Japan, for example? I make those decisions myself. It's part of my job, but sometimes I just need a little bit of help to see what would, like my boss or the editor, what they would prefer for that day. But then they would give me the runaround. They would be like, I don't know, what do you think you should do? Or hang on, let me ask my boss what we should do. Just a basic example. Yeah. Sometimes taking responsibility is such a, like, nobody wants that job. Nobody wants to take responsibility. Once I think Donald Trump was speaking, and there was a very high chance that I wouldn't be able to go on air. So then I went and I asked, hey guys, since you're not gonna be able to go on air, can I just record this and leave it in the server just in case? And I feel like, yep, that was decided quick and easy. Yes, you can do that. But then the Donald Trump thing went in longer. So my next record or my next live broadcast was also in jeopardy of not going on air. And the same thing, I went and I asked, but now the shift had kind of like changed. It was different people. And I said, this is what happened this morning. I'm not sure if I can do it again for the afternoon. And it had to go through like 3 or 4 people before somebody could decide what the next step was going to be, because nobody wanted to take responsibility. The same thing happened to me back in the day when I lived in Nagasaki. I used to teach English in Nagasaki to junior high school and elementary school kids. But then now and then I would have people who, like visitors, like visitor tutors, for example, they would come and be like guest tutors with me in a class. And so in Japan, in elementary school, and I think junior high school as well, the kids are given school lunch. So they eat lunch together in the school during lunchtime in the classroom. and I was allowed to join them in the classroom. I could choose whatever class, and it actually rotated. One week was this class, the next week was class B, the following week class C, etc. And so when I had one of these visiting tutors who came in from different parts of the world, it's like a cultural exchange vibe, right? So I asked, lunchtime came, and then I wanted to ask the tutors if they can eat lunch with the students so that we can, just interact a bit and do something a bit more interesting. Then I go and I ask the vice principal, because the vice principal is kind of like the boss on the day. I'm like, hey, sir, Kocho sensei. No, no, not Kocho. Vice principal is Kocho. Something like that. And now I forgot the terms. And I'm like asking this dude, I'm like, hey, can the visiting tutors come eat lunch with the class that I'm eating lunch with today? And he's like, no, I don't know if that is allowed. I'll have to ask the actual principal, this vice principal. I have to ask no, wait. First I asked the class teacher. The class teacher said, no, you have to go ask me. I have to go ask the vice principal. All right, so I leave the class, I go to the vice principal and I ask him, and he's like, oh, what did the class teacher say? I was like, no, she said I must ask you. And he's like, oh, okay, wait, I don't think I'm the right person to take this decision. So let me ask the actual principal. Ask the principal, and the principal was like, I'm not sure. I'm not the person to take responsibility on that or the decision on that. Let me ask the Board of Education. And they had to call the Board of Education to ask if the tutors can eat lunch with me and the kids in the classroom. By that point, I was so fed up. I told them, you know what? Never mind. I'll just tell the tutors that it's a little bit difficult. It has never been done before and we can't do it, because nobody wants to take responsibility. And I thought, what was going to happen? Were they going to ask the Board of Education, and then the Board of Education was going to ask the Minister of Education, and the Minister of Education was going to ask the Prime Minister, and then the Prime Minister was going to have to ask the Emperor? Is that what was going to happen? Jeez, just come on, guys. Be a little bit more flexible. Yeah, again, you see, the difference is between when you're visiting versus when you live here. When you live here, these things can be so frustrating. Whereas when you are just visiting and you're like, oh, it's so nice. Japanese people are so kind and so polite. Mama. Which, yes, they are. But oh my goodness, they can also be frustrating. Speaking of being polite and being kind, this past week, there's been a viral video going on about this Japanese lady who bumped into a child, like a really small girl, at Shibuya Crossing. Now, Shibuya Crossing is this really big, famous crossing in Shibuya where the robots, the traffic lights, they all turn red for the cars and then green for people. And then you see a swarm of people going like this into opposite direction. I'll put up on a picture. I mean, I did this as if the picture already exists, but yeah, I'll put it up on a picture. Hopefully you guys can see. Yeah, so it's really popular, and lots of tourists, they really are also annoying because they can stand in the middle of the road when people are just trying to cross. I've seen a lot of tourists standing in the middle of the road when the lights are actually red for people and green for cars, and cars are trying to pass. And you see these influencers with the cameras and the camera people trying to take Instagram reels and stuff. And that can be really, really irritating. But this one, the lights were green for people to walk. And then this lady just came rushing behind, and she actually pushed two people before she pushed the child. She pushed one man, one slightly older girl, and then the small girl. Shoved the girl all the way to the ground, man. It went viral. It was crazy. And the funny part is, it was posted by a Japanese person, that video, and it went viral. It got like 9-10 million views or so. But then the people in the comments, the Japanese people in the comments were like, no, that is not a Japanese person. That is a Chinese lady. You can tell by her outfit how tacky it is. That's definitely a Chinese person. I'm like, what? Come on. There's no way you can tell that's a Chinese person by this description that you guys are giving. And if I were to guess, that person definitely looked Japanese. I mean, fine, look, for me, it's very hard sometimes to tell between the difference between a Chinese person, a Japanese person, and a Korean person. But at this point, I know the behaviors and the mannerisms of Japanese people, and that person was Japanese. And also, as a victim of someone that's actually been pushed in the train station as well, I can attest that was that. So that was quite big. That was quite viral. Yeah, which made me question: are Japanese people really that polite and really that kind? The answer is yes, they are polite. That one incident does not paint the picture for all Japanese people. Let's be fair. Nobody is perfect. There is no country, there is no nation that is perfect. But at the same time, people here are not as gentle and as kind as it is portrayed in the whole world, or as it portrayed, as it is, you know, put out there by social media, or whatever stories we have heard. A lot of people have been pushed. Even my colleagues, when I showed them the video of the Taiwanese girl being pushed, yeah, the girl that was pushed down was a Taiwanese girl. When I showed one of my colleagues, and she told me, "Oh my God, yes, I've also been pushed so many times by Japanese people." And she even gave me a word for what you call elderly people who are miserable and push people out of the way, or who are just, you know, sour, unsavory, is that a word? Who are just really bitter and not nice people. There is a word for it. I forgot it. I forgot the word. Something bachan. Ochiba. Ochirubake. Oh, man. Now I forgot. I'm going to have to ask her. And when I edit this video, I'll put it up. You see, I need to get my Japanese going, because I learn a word and then I forget it 2 days later. But anyway, yeah. So she also told me that she has also been a victim of shoving. Somebody shoved her in the train station. When she once worked at a grocery store, I think, or some department store she worked at for when she was a university student, just like a part-time job. And somebody came and just shoved her for no reason. And that person made her apologize for shoving her. Yeah, so yeah, these things, and of course, after that one video of 10 million viewers, there's been a lot of other videos just resurfacing of old people walking down the street and seeing someone. Either they were just having a bad day or something, and then they just throw their bags at them, or they just push them out of the way. So it does happen. I mean, people do get miserable sometimes, and they can do really things that are not nice at all. So yeah, that's what happened. Now back to what we were talking about. Yeah, Japanese colleagues. As much as I think every single human being on earth deserves a Japanese colleague, because they are so nice, actually. In the office, they are really so nice. They never argue with you. And there's this other thing that I really enjoy is there's a thing called, in my office, they call it Sanji Oyatsu, Noyatsu, or something like that, which means 3 p.m. snack time. And there's always snacks in the office, from sweets to little chocolates and cakes and sembe, like Japanese crackers, cookies. There's always something in the office, because, they just like to share nice things with each other. When they go on a trip, when they come back, they bring this thing called omiyage, which means souvenir. So let's say, for example, a person goes on holiday to Okinawa, for example. When they come back, they bring like a bag or box of delicacies, of sweet things, nice things, delicious things that they share with other colleagues in the office. When I started doing it, when I go to South Africa, I buy a big bag of lunch bars and I come and I share them with my colleagues. It's called omiyage. And that is something really nice. The reason I am not losing weight is because every single day I'm eating something sweet in the office, or something salty. At the moment, I'm not eating potato chips though, because I'm on a break. But that's really nice. I love that so much. Yeah, Sanji Oyatsu or something like that. Yeah, sometimes it's little coffees or special teas or honey. Really, really cool things. My colleague, the one that's like directly close to me, the one that sits next to me, yeah, she brings stuff all the time because she's always traveling around. She brings nice, delicious things all the time. Once she brought me a hazy IPA from Florida, which was amazing, really delicious. Totally appreciate that. And that is why I think everybody deserves a Japanese colleague. I don't know, what is it like for you guys, other people that work in Japanese companies? If you are watching this video, do you get the same treatment as well? Do you get people shying away from responsibility, or do you get people shying away from having an argument and giving you their tatemae? Now, the one big problem that I have with tatemae is you never really know if they are being genuine about something. Like if they really mean it. When they come to me and say, "Oh, Titi, good job on something," sometimes I wonder, do they really mean it, or is it just the frontal face that they just put on to be polite and to be nice? And that can be a little daunting sometimes because you never really know. Fortunately for me, I work with many Japanese people that have either lived overseas for some time, worked overseas for some time, and they have experience of the outside world outside of Japan. And therefore, their tatemae is not so strong. The things that they say, they actually do mean them. And the things that they are uncomfortable about, they can actually pull you aside to the side and talk to you about it. But in general, sometimes tatemae is just so strong they cannot get away. It's like me trying to get rid of my African ways. It's impossible because, man, I lived in Africa for so long. So some things are just deeply rooted in me. I can't get away from them. And so it's the same with Japanese people. Some things are so deeply rooted within them. It's their culture. It's their way of living. They can't change it. Yeah, so you adapt, or you just let it go, let it bypass you. And then finally, one last thing that really shocks me, and this one is a big one because I talk about this one quite a lot. Inside the office, Japanese people always nice. They always hit me with the "Ohayo gozaimasu" or "Otsukare-sama deshita" or "Tsushima-san, daijoubu desu ka? Are you okay?" Nice, communicative, very cool. But the minute we step outside of the office, it's like they don't know me. So many people. Now, okay, fine. Let's make it very clear. I've got colleagues that are really close to me, the ones on my weather team that I talk to every single day, that I do a lot of things with in the office almost every single day. Those ones, if they do see me outside the office, like in Shibuya, for example, they will say hello, or they will even stop and talk to me. Like my line manager. My line manager, sometimes we bump into each other in by the traffic lights, by the robots. And we'll just have a conversation right there. But other colleagues, that the ones that I don't see very much, like maybe the video editors or the art directors, people that draw my maps, the ones that I don't really interact with all the time, when I see them outside of the office, they don't even greet me. They walk as if they can't, as if they did not even see me. And you must understand how hard it is not to see me, because number one, I'm one of only 2 or 3 other black people in the office. So I stand out in the office, and I do stand out outside the office as well, because we mostly see Japanese people. I mean, black people are like an endangered species in Japan. There aren't many of us. Yes, there are plenty, but there aren't that many of us. There are a lot of times when I'm walking down the street in Shibuya and then I see another black person, I'm like, oh, Daki, haha. Yeah, so I feel like when my colleagues walk past me, they can't pretend, oh no, it's just another black person. They gotta look, chances are it's gonna be me. But they always walk past me like I'm a ghost, bro. Like I have to pinch myself to see, wait a minute, am I still alive? Or do I somehow vanish when I get outside of the office? Outside of the office, they don't greet. They don't even bow their heads. No otsukare-sama desu, no Ohio, no titi, what's up, nothing. Even some of the cool guys, the ones that speak fluent English, when I see them, like there's this one video editor guy that I really like, man. It's really cool. He's got this nice fade, nice haircut, and he dresses really cool. And when we are working on a video together, he's always asking me silly questions, and we're talking. He's always asking me, Titi, are you getting Japanese girls? Oh, something silly like, oh, Titi, oh, we should go for a drink. I'm like, yeah, we should. In the office, he says stuff like that. We talk. And he asked me about football and movies, stuff that I'm interested in. But outside the office, I was so shocked when that happened. Outside of the office, we were walking down the street. I just polished it down to maybe he didn't see me. But then again, guys, come on. You cannot miss me. Look, my hair stands out, man. You cannot miss me on the street. So that shocks me all the time. I'm like, wait a minute. So when they see me outside of the office, it's like they don't know me. But inside of the office, hey, what's up? The thing is, I haven't seen that guy again because this incident happened recently. I haven't seen him again. But when I see him next time, I'm going to ask him, like, hey, man, did you not see me in the street? Oh, but no, maybe that's going to make him uncomfortable now. You see? Now, and then what I think is an answer to this is something that I randomly read about in one post on Instagram. And then it was on Tokyo Chipo, and then he just directed me to a link where they wrote about Japanese culture. And they say that tatemae, one of the reasons tatemae is so big is it actually avoids conflict, or not conflict, confusion, or not being clear about something. It sets boundaries. Yeah, let me put it like that. It sets boundaries. In the office, yes, we work together, we are colleagues, but that doesn't mean we are friends. Because think about it. When you work with someone and your relationship is very professional, everything will be clear. If something goes wrong and somebody has to take responsibility, or something difficult has to happen, then it can be done in a very clear and in a professional relationship or professional manner. But once you become friends with someone in the office, then the water can be a little bit murky because you don't want to offend your friend. Or maybe you take it so light that you speak freely with your friend and not treat them in a professional manner. That certainly has happened to me before in my previous jobs, in that I became too friendly with my colleagues. And then there came a time where there was a little bit of friction and we couldn't really solve the friction because we are buddy now with each other. And I couldn't be serious enough. I couldn't say, hey man, you need to get your act together because now we are buddy. And they're like, just relax, That actually has happened before. And so I think to avoid those instances here in Japan, that's why tatemae is out there, is that because we are not buddy, we can address each other in a professional manner and get things off our chest or get things done without having to handle each other with protective gloves, golden gloves of caring and friendship. So in a way, that does work. As much as I understand that bit, it really messes with me, man, when I walk down the street and I see someone, I'm like, oh, there is the editor that I like who does 1, 2, 3, and so. And then I come close with my big ass smile and then I want to wave and nothing. And they just walk past by me. Sometimes I look back and sometimes I'm going to be like, hey man, Tanaka-san, come on, but I can't. And once they have, a lot of people wear masks here in Japan. Once they have their mask on, it's almost like, bro, this is the mask of, I'm talking about normal face mask now. Yeah, but once they have that on, it's like, hey, now we are not talking. Now I follow. Aribui no. Ash buli buli. I don't know why I said that. That's even wrong. Yeah, as kurumi. Mina nawe. Aye, we are not. On spratni mier ni meo. I don't know why I'm saying all this in so many different languages. Frustration. Oh my God, frustrato. And you must understand the reason this is frustrating me so much is because, guys, I'm a social person. I'm a people's person. I love people. I love chatting to people. I love making fun of people. And I love it when people make fun of me. Not too much though, but yeah, I must be the one making fun of you the most. But I'm a people's person. I really love engaging. I ask people personal things. I ask them about their families, about their children. I ask them about their relationships or what they enjoy, because I just love human beings. And I love my colleagues, a lot of them. So those ones that usually do talk to me in and outside of the office, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. You're making Japan a wonderful place for me. When I'm walking down the train station and somebody shoves me, if I don't shove them back, obviously, I get to the office and I'm miserable, and then I tell my colleague and they're like, oh, relax. These things happen. Oh my God. Speaking of Japanese people being really weird, also, these very kind and polite people have a tendency of groping other people in the train, which is wild, wild. I mean, I've never seen it happen in person, but I've been told by many people that they have seen a guy grab a girl's private parts, like butt or breast, in the train, either broad daylight or at night. They just do it and then they like jump out of the train or they move to the next cart. Crazy. So yeah, Japanese people can be polite, but they can also be really weird. Culture shock. But again, the whole world can be weird in its own way. The things that happen here, they really shock me sometimes. But yeah, in general, I think all of us, we deserve Japanese colleagues because they are nice. They bring you snacks. They never argue with you. And inside the office, man, they will tell you that you are doing a good job. They'll hit you with a random "otsukaresama desu." Oi, arigatou gozaimasu. And the longer they drag the S, it means they like you. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. But yeah, there are many other horror stories. I must admit that I'm one of the few people that are actually having a really good time, knock on wood or touch wood, whatever, a really good time at work. People are very gentle. I treat my job literally is like my happy place. Apart from the fact that I really love being on TV and I love doing my job. I love looking at clouds and looking at weather systems move. Apart from that, yeah, I also love my colleagues. I love the ones that chat to me and the ones that always ask me, oh, when are you going home to see your family? When you come back, please bring some amarula. Okay, amarula. Yeah, or nandosu sosu. Not the super spicy one, okay? Just mama karai. Not just a little bit spicy, not the very spicy one. Yeah. Yeah, those are the nice people. And I think many people on earth, they deserve colleagues like that because they can make the workspace very nice. But at the same time, you must also take the not so great, yeah, like when you don't know whether they mean it when they compliment you because they have their tatemae face on. I wonder what is their home face like. I wish I could be a fly on somebody's wall in their house and see what actually is the face that they have, their personal face, like the feelings. I bet the minute they get home, rage just comes out, like they scream or something, like they just lose it. Like those guys, the Urawa Reds guys, when they support football. Like I feel like when they get to the stadium, that's the one time they get to scream and just be their normal selves. And then outside of the stadium, when they go to work, nice and calm. And somebody and relaxed. Maybe, yeah, those are the two faces. Yeah, Tatemae, man, really interesting to hear. Japan is such an interesting place. There's so many things culturally, so many things that will shock you. They are nice, yes, but they will also push you. I always say, this is very fun. I say Japanese people are nice up until it's time to get either on or off the train, because yeah, they will shove you. There's this thing that happens in Japan when you are carrying a backpack. They ask you to put your backpack in front of you. I don't know what's the reason, because that does not save space. I mean, how do you save space whether it's in front or the back? Because if it's in front, you are taking the space in front. If it's at the back, you're taking space at the back. So they ask you to carry your backpack in front of you, or if you're holding a bag like this, put it away from your side and in front of you. Okay. And if you don't, if it's like behind you, I feel like they take it, they make it their personal mission to make you aware, because they will push you, they will push the bag. Like when they're trying to pass behind you, there could be space big enough for a jumbo jet to pass behind you, but they will push you, like they will make you feel that your bag is behind you, and then eventually you'll see me drag my bag and put it in front of me. Yeah, so they can be so aggressive, passive aggressive, I guess, in the train when they push you around, or when it's very crowded and we are all like going back and forth. Yeah, they will elbow you a little bit or shoulder you, push you, lean on you. Yeah, Japanese people can be extremely nice, but in the train, they're different animals, I'm telling you. Yeah. Somebody once said to me that one of the reasons you have to put your bag in the front was mostly for men. It was like a device strategy for men, because if you have your bag in front of you, you are most likely to keep your hands to yourself, to your bag as well. That way, you won't be fondling girls. You won't be grabbing on people. Yeah, that is actually a clever thing. And I do believe that. Yeah, if your bag is in front of you, then yes. And I guess if your bag is in front of you, you have more control of it, no? So you won't be bumping other people. So that kind of makes sense in a way why you must keep your bag in front of you and not behind your backpack. That's it. Okay. Yeah, this was kind of like a mixed bag of a story here, talking about some cultures and also just how nice it can be to have Japanese colleagues, but also how confusing it can be as well. One minute they are nice in the office, but outside the office, it's like they don't see you. I'm like, why don't you guys greet me outside the office, man? Do you just not like me outside the office? You only like me when I'm inside? Or do I feel more familiar in the office, like a safe zone inside the office? Maybe they are scared that outside the office, if they greet me, I will do what I most likely will do: stop and have a chat with them when they're trying to get somewhere. Somewhere. Maybe maybe it's not that they don't like me. Maybe they just know how much I talk and they're like, we're not yet, kulma kakhulu. We don't want to have a sit down and talk with you. Yeah, well, I don't know what it's like in your work office. People that have very typical Japanese colleagues, very typical Japanese work environment. What is it like for you there? Please share with us in the comments. If you like it, guys, please like and subscribe, share with your friends. Let this help me out so that I don't know why I'm saying help me out. I'm going to delete that. Anyway, guys, if you are enjoying these videos, please share with your friends, like, subscribe, comment, and let's keep the community growing and keep it going. I'll try to keep up with more content and make more of these videos. That is it. Today is, what's the date today? Well, when I say today, I mean at the time I'm recording this video. It's Wednesday, something in March, 4th of March or something. So I'll upload this video in a day or two because I have to edit it, but I've got so much to do as well work-wise. But yeah, I'm going to go watch the Proteas now. The Proteas will be playing New Zealand at 10:30 tonight. Oh, time zones are killing me. 10:30, I don't think I'll finish that game because I want to wake up early so that I can watch Manchester United versus Newcastle tomorrow. So you see what my life is like with these time zones, yeah? Either I sleep too late or I wake up too early watching sports. But it was nice chatting to you. Please take care, guys. Be well. And yeah, see you in the next one.